Good morning everyone and welcome to my channel English Literature. Today we are going to talk about Margaret Atwood. Okay, Margaret Eleanor Atwood, and she is a Canadian novelist, poet and critic. You can see this picture, how glorious she is looking, how beautiful and glamorous. Actually, I feel when a person is just wise in his or her heart, that wisdom, this ingenuity just reflected in the face, and by observing her face I feel that she is such genius. So Margaret Eleanor Atwood, the Canadian novelist, she wrote many books of poetry, novel, non-fiction and even children's books. Some of her works are also adapted into films and television. Her first published work, Double Persephone, it was a book of poetry that deals with a mythological figure. The name is Persephone. So you have to keep it in mind that what was Margaret Atwood's first work, that was Double Persephone, and it was a book of poetry that deals with a mythological figure. The name is Persephone. So this information you must keep in mind. Her writings pose a feminine bent. In her writing you will find a feminine tone, intonation, and you can tell that she is a feminist in that way. Now her notable works are The Handmaid's Tale. The most popular and most acclaimed work is The Handmaid's Tale, then Cat's Eye, Elias Grace. You have to keep in mind these novels and the date of publication. The Blind Assassin, Oryx and Crake and Surfacing. She gets Booker Prize 2 times, very important, you have to keep in mind. She gets Booker Prize 2 times. And for which novels? First for The Blind Assassin in 2000 and then in 2019 for The Testaments. So which were the two novels by Margaret Atwood for which she get Booker Prize for 2 times? First The Blind Assassin, and you must keep in mind the date of getting the Blind Assassin. Actually The Blind Assassin published and in that 2000, and that year she gets Booker. Again The Testaments 2019, so 18 years gap. And one most important thing to keep in mind that in that year in 2019 she got the Booker Prize along with another writer, another author, for her novel Girl, Woman and Others. She is Bernardine Everest. Okay, this is very important because this is a path-breaking happening incident that two persons at the same year get Booker Prize for 2 different books, and that was Bernardine Everest and Margaret Atwood. And for which books? Bernardine Everest for Girl, Woman and Other, and Margaret Atwood for The Testament. Keep this point in mind. And who was Bernardine Everest? Bernardine Everest was the first black woman and first black British writer who won this Booker Prize. Okay, and Atwood's literary criticism. Okay, now we'll talk about Atwood's literary criticism, the books on literary criticism. First, survival. What is survival? Survival is a thematic guide to Canadian literature. Here Atwood postulates that Canadian literature and by extension Canadian identity is characterized by the symbol of survival. It bears the influence of Northrop Frye's theory of garrison mentality. So what is this? What is garrison? Garrison means, suppose an army is protecting, defending a country or a state or a city, that is called garrison. And what is this garrison mentality? Actually, the tough environment of Canada, its wilderness, its cold, emptiness, influence the psyche of the Canadian people, and that is called garrison. They have to struggle. They had to struggle hard for survival. And that garrison theory that was propagated by Northrop Frye, based on that theory, Margaret Atwood's criticism survival is published. So you have to keep in mind this point, that Margaret Atwood's survival, a thematic guide to Canadian literature, is based on Northrop Frye's theory of garrison mentality. Do you understand what is garrison mentality? Okay, if you don't understand, just inform me. by commenting below, then I will make a detailed video upon garrison mentality and north of war. The Journals of Susanna Moody. This is another critical work by Margaret Atwood, and this is very important. It is a poetry collection. Here is a line that is very important. You have to. This quotation is very important from where it is taken. The animals die that we may live. They are substitute people. Okay. And so, who is Susanna Moody? In this Susanna Moody, the Journals of Susanna Moody. Susanna Moody is a Canadian writer, early Canadian writer, you can say. In Cat's Eye, the narrator recognizes the similarity between a turkey and a baby. And what is the cat's eye? We will talk later. The cat's eye actually the marble. Have you ever played marble in your childhood? That we have played a lot, that they are looking just translucent, colorful, and there is a marble like cat's eye. And that's cat's eye marble is talking about. The surfacing of a dead heron who represents purposelessness, killing, and prompts throughout about other senseless deaths. So surfacing is about death hunting. And in the novels, that Edible Omen. It is a very important novel, and it is her first novel. So keep in mind what is Atwood's first novel, and that is The Edible Omen. It deals with a woman who, in her trepidation to marriage, stops eating. Okay. Is this happen nowadays? I don't think so. But in Margaret Atwood's Edible Omen, the woman just stopped eating in fear of getting married. Now the second is Surfacing. We have talked about this also previously. And in Surfacing, an unnamed protagonist is searched for her missing father, accompanied by her lover Joe. It is also her critical work, and again it is a novel. Lady Oracle, it is the character. I just try to keep in mind some major characters of her major novels. Here the major character is unnamed, and here is Joan Foster, and Roman novelist parody. It is a parody of Gothic romance. So Lady Oracle is actually Joan Foster, and see what is her occupation? She is a romance novelist, and in this novel, Atwood just parodied Gothic romance. Though in most of her work we find this Gothic element. Life Before Men, Bodily Harm, The Handmaid's Tale, the most popular and most celebrated work of Margaret Atwood. There is a character, very important character of Fred. You can find the movie. Okay, The Handmaid's Tale is in the movie form, so you can find it. It is a handmaid in a futuristic society, Gilead, and her only use in the society is to give birth. It is a very pathetic and very dystopian style of writing. You must go through it. The Handmaid's Tale, you have to read it. Cat's Eye, it is Eleanor Atwood. He is a fictional character. You have to keep in mind these characters. Fred from Handmaid's Tale, Eleanor Atwood from Cat's Eye, Lady Oracle's character Joan Foster, and you find every character is here woman-centric. When a woman author writes something, the characters become woman-centric mostly. And the robber, I say that Cat's Eye is a marble as her motif of painting. So here Ellen Risley, a fictional painter, she uses a cat's eye marble. Actually the marble looks like cat's eye, black and green tint in it. So she uses that as a motif of painting again and again. That's why it is cat's eye. The Robber Bride, it is Gothic novel Genia. It is told about the character Genia. Genia hunted her 3 friends, just take their money and takes their boyfriends from them. So the Robber Bride is a Gothic novel. I told you that Margaret Atwood herself, in her novels we find the Gothic element again and again. Now next is Alias Grace. Here is the character it is a story based on Grace Marks. The name of the character is Grace Marks. Okay, she was a servant who murdered her master in 1843. Okay, in 1843 there was a rumor, maybe gossip, or it may have some truth, that a servant named Grace has murdered his master. And basing upon that story, it is written by Atwood alias Grace. The blind assassin, the character is Iris Griffin. You cannot keep in mind all the, she wrote so many novels and so many pieces of writing, so you cannot keep all this in mind, but you can keep some of the novels that are most important, and just keep in mind the women characters who are the protagonists of this novel. You can make a chart. Okay, I can give you this suggestion that you just make a chart of the important novels by Atwood and then the characters. The Handmaid's Tale, Offred, Cat's Eye, Ellen Risley, Robert Bride, Ginia, Alias Grace. Actually, if you can remember the Grace word, then you can from the option. Oryx and Craig, The Penelopiad, The Year of the Flood, Mad Adam, The Testament. Okay, for this you get the Booker. Second Booker. Mad Adam Trilogy. You have to keep in mind what are the Mad Adam Trilogy and how many novels were there. In Mad Adam Trilogy, we find the 3 novels, The Oryx and Craig, The Year of the Flood, and Mad Adam. This is very, very important, the 3 novels that were included in Mad Adam Trilogy. And it deals with a post-apocalyptic world. What is the theme of this novel, this series, this trilogy? That is post-apocalyptic world and the primitive creatures inhabited it. And what were they called? That those primitive creatures, they are called crackers. And there is a character Snowman. Just note down this point. The primitive creatures are called crackers and there is character whose name is Snowman. And it is deal with a post-apocalyptic world. Short fiction collection. Dancing Girl is very important. 1977 talks about her prescribed roles of women in the male-dominated society. Then Murder in the Dark, Bluebeard's Egg, Wilderness Tip. Do you know the Bluebeard story? The Bluebeard story, have you read about it? You must search for it in YouTube. There you find the Bluebeard story. He has 7 wives and he just used to cut their head and hang them, just like blood dripping. And there is a room where the room was totally devastated with their blood. But he cannot find the final wife because she will be rescued by her brothers. And Bluebeard will be killed. Good Bone, Simple Murders, and there are so many children's books. Just have a look at this. They are not so important. Who's important, we just discussed about it. And now just have a look at these names. Poetry collection, Double Persephone, we just discussed about it at the very beginning. Double Persephone was the first work of Atwood. It was a poetry collection, deals with a mythological character, that is Persephone. The Circle Game, it is a Gothic collection of poems that exposed gender issues. The first poem is This is a Photograph of Me. It's narrated by a dead woman. The dead woman is in which poetry anthology a dead woman is a character, that is the Circle Game. Here the dead woman is saying, okay, take my photograph when I will be dead. So she is saying that someone that they must take her photograph when she will be dead, and that is called Circle Game. Expedition, Speeches for Doctor, The Journals of Susanna Moody. Okay. She wrote in collaboration 2 graphic novels, that is Angel Catbird and War Bears. Angel Catbirds and War Bears. These are the 2 graphic novels written by her, but in collaboration with some other writers. Throughout her life, she has proven her extreme aptitude and acumen. The grandeur of her literary concerto is astounding. This I myself feel when I was just making this note, and I find so many works she has written in her lifetime. Oh my God, she is such a genius and she is such a beauty. I again like to see her face. Okay, so thank you.